And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Arrow, which is entitled Promises Kept. This is the second part of sort of a two-part sequence. The first part was last week's episode, Deathstroke Returns. And I have joining me again one of my faves and your faves. This is Raquel. Raquel, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
I'm so happy she's back. I'm so happy that we're here to chat about a new episode. And I did like this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm so happy this 2 episode sequence is over because I'm kind of looking forward to what's gonna come next. But there were some great parts of tonight's episode, and we're going to start it off on kind of a high note. Well, we're going to start it off with the rating. So if anybody's watching live now, I know I just tweeted it, so as you're arriving, feel free to drop your ratings in the chat on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being I hated every second of it, and 5 being I loved every second of it. And I'm going to turn it right back to Raquel. Tell me what your rating was.
I mean, just in terms of an episode, I think I'd give it a 3.5. I mean, it wasn't horrible. And I mean, there are distinct things that will make me jump off a couch. And this episode wasn't that.
Right.
It did give us closure. You know, they brought in Slade at the end of season 5. And this Joe thing has been hanging in the air for a while. So I think it did the justice that it needed to be done for that story. Yeah.
I kind of agree. I think my rating's right around there. I would say I will say I think I retrospectively looking at part 1 and part 2, I think I kind of liked part 2 better, at least on the Slade and Oliver side of things, because I think part 1 they really just had it tampered too far down. It was just like there were the chemistry that you would normally see between Oliver and Slade wasn't really there, and the there wasn't much tension. There was action, but there wasn't the right kind of tension that we're used to seeing when we have Slade as a villain. There wasn't the sort of psychological torture we'd usually have. And tonight, I think they kind of brought that for Slade and Oliver's storyline. Now, granted, it wasn't quite the like villain hero face off that we would normally have between Slade and Oliver that we've had in the past, but it wasn't meant to be. So that's fine. I think it was more on the Team Arrow side of things that I was just like, I was happy with some of the writing decisions that they made. Like, I was happy that they decided to like honor Diggle's character and like have him open up to Lila and have him make the morally right choice. Like, that was so great. You agree on that one? So talk about your reaction to that.
There's this thing that always hangs in my head when I see Dyla, Diggle, John and Lila scenes, is that I think it was David Ramsey who had said that John and Lila are what Oliver wants to be with Felicity in the future. I think he's back in maybe season 3, maybe. And that was something that really rang true for me watching that scene of him, not hiding this from Lila. I mean, obviously he hadn't told her for a while because this is news to her, but he was open. And once the floodgates opened, he basically was sharing everything, that this is not a legal drug that using. The dealer got away. I thought that moment was really poignant to see, especially in light that we're seeing so much evidence of growth amongst, the original Team Arrow members. We're seeing that with Felicity and Oliver's relationship, just a different sense of maturity that's there. And so to see that again with Diggle and Lila, like that, I did enjoy that a lot.
For sure. Jumping into the chat, a lot of people are echoing your sentiments. So Amanda says, I'm very glad it wasn't quote unquote drugs, it was steroids. Diggle wouldn't go for a common drug. So I think that's true. They kind of really paid attention to his reasoning for going after this and his motivation. And even if, the whole Richard Dragon thing ended up being a misstep on his part, he came at it from the right place. And when it came time to really, like, it was do or die, like he had to tell people, he did. and didn't wait for like some panicked phone call in the field. Stormy gives this episode a 3.5, so her rating seems like it's right on par with yours pretty much. And she said, I did love Dig being honest. He still hasn't told the two most important people in his life other than his wife and son, which is Oliver and Felicity. So she's nodding to the end of that episode there, where Oliver and Felicity have that moment with William and they can't quite get to the cave right then, and Diggle talks to the rest of his team.
Yeah, I mean,
which yeah, but I do think like if he is going to tell the rest of the team, the people that he's over, the people that he's sort of leading, and then later tell Oliver and Felicity, which is more like those are the people that he's more worked together with, that they're closer to being like his peers. I think that makes sense because everybody that he told tonight are all people that are working under him, people that he's trained, people that he's led, people who have came after him. Felicity did come after him, but it's just like Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity have slightly different dynamic than Diggle leading the rest of the team, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I think I definitely agree with that. And I don't know if it's coming. I don't know if it's been teased in interviews, but no, it has been teased. I'm looking forward to seeing more of those deeper discussions between the three of them. Just, especially as like kind of the older siblings of the group. Like I am looking forward to that moment where they all sit down and, air out stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think, maybe that's the thing is like with Oliver being gone and everything, we couldn't really have any original Team Arrow moments. And so maybe that was like something else that felt like his Diggle's storyline isn't complete until he gets that moment with them. But I'm hoping that moment is coming. And it was
I don't think it's over. I definitely don't think this like it doesn't feel over. I mean, obviously we see the tremors that are happening. And Dinah walking away with the steroid in her hand.
I thought she was walking away with that origami thing.
I thought it was a steroid. See, there's a couple of things that had me confused at the end of this episode.
I couldn't tell what it was. You might be right, actually. Anybody watching, let us know in the chat whatever you guys thought it was.
Yeah.
So, let us know if you thought it was the origami thing that Vigilante gave her from last week, which, like, if you already forgot about that, that's okay. Vigilante's forgettable. Or if it's steroids that she saved for Diggle, which is possible. I don't know.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about that. The stuff from okay, I don't know. Yeah, let's see what everyone else says because I didn't even notice that.
Just looking at the chat, and this isn't caught up to what we were saying yet, but Amanda says it's been said in interviews by Steven and David that there will be a rupture on Team Arrow eventually, which will be OTA versus the newbies. So I think maybe we're slowly starting to see that sort of divide here of the oldies versus the newbies. And Stormy says the friendship with OTA is such an important part of the show. When Diggle finally confesses to them, it will make me feel all the feels. Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be an OTA moment, I'm sure, when it gets to the end of this part of Diggle's storyline, like maybe after Felicity and Curtis find him the cure, that sort of thing. Okay, so here we say Bruno says it's the origami. Stormy says it was the matchbox. Did he give her a matchbox? Amanda also says it was the matchbox. Vince gave her. Maybe he gave her like a matchbox origami in it.
I totally messed that one up. Sorry, guys.
No, I mean, I thought it was origami and it was a matchbox, apparently. It's something Vigilante gave her. But I think that the implication with it being like drugs versus what she was keeping, the implication was just that both she and Diggle are going to continue to keep secrets from each other, which, like...
That should be interesting to see if that split happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So... I mean, like, I don't know. I was kind of expecting, like, it was, the team thing and it would all whittle down to, like, Diggle and Dinah in the end because they're really, like, pushing that friendship, like, really, really hard.
I wasn't surprised that she had something with her because it seems like, especially, like, back in season 5, I remember when Diggle was encouraging, Dinah to, I don't know if it was just to trust the team, but also to establish roots, like when she got her place and moving out. So in my head, like I see them almost like, like those cousins that just pester you to like get your life together. So I feel like this is gonna be one of those. You know what? I wonder if the split is gonna come down to Dinah and Diggle being mad at each other.
I
I
think
wonder
it
if that
might be
starts.
actually, and that would kind of explain why they've built up all this time of like, I mean, it was almost to the point of, it depends on your perspective, but it was to the point where I would start to see complaints of like, there's just so many Diggle and Dinah
I
scenes,
saw that, yeah, saw
like,
that.
and like as opposed to like we were kind of hoping for maybe some more Diggle and Oliver scenes and Diggle and Felicity scenes, and it's just a lot of Diggle and Dinah. And I think that that might have been the reasoning for pushing that so hard, is so that we could like get super, super, super convinced that these guys are really, really friends, so that when it does come down to
It does come,
them butting heads, because they do have that sort of temper, and it's like my way or the highway for both of
yeah,
them, that could cause the split. And then it would make sense that like the newbies would be more inclined to like follow Dinah's leadership, whereas
yeah.
Oliver would not at all choose to follow Dinah over Diggle.
Because I'm already seeing that, especially like in the moment where Dinah, they might not have thought of it this way, but when she came into the lair, and she said, "Sorry, I'm late. Catch me up." Like, and I know that's like just a normal line, but it easily I was in my head thinking that sounds like Oliver coming back to
Yeah,
what's happening, that kind of thing, like fill me in, I'm the leader here. And I was like, that'll be very interesting, if
yeah,
she is the one who leads this group off into their own thing.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, I mean, if it does come down to like a Diggle versus Dinah split, like catch me on Team Diggle, but I can
Yeah,
I can
I'm
see it.
so
I
interested
can see it
to see that.
happening. What now?
I really, I think we talked about this last time I was here, but I am interested in that split because it's it's a storyline that I feel is safe.
Yeah,
Because again, everyone's gonna get back together, everyone's gonna be happy. Well, at least that's what I'm assuming. So I don't feel like I feel like it's a juicy story to explore, but I'm not. There's not a lot of risk.
yeah,
I think that's maybe why I look forward to it and I'm not anxious about it, because it's like we've done everything now. Oliver freaking got stabbed and thrown off a mountain, for Pete's sake. I mean, there's no more drama, hopefully, to be had with Oliver and Felicity. Like
right.
every, I feel like everyone's kind of safe right now, so I think that's a nice storyline to look forward to.
I think so too. And also, I mean, you brought up Oliver, so let's jump into some of what was going on with him tonight. So first, you mentioned sort of what we see at the end of this episode, which is that there's this sort of stability and safety that he's got going on the family front.
Yeah,
We had Felicity there playing video games with William, which was so cute, and then William is doing better in school thanks to Felicity, not Oliver, and that's going well. We know Reza's still in the picture, which is lovely. I'm such a Reza fan.
I,
um, we've got all that, which is obviously setting up for some ominous thing where it's all going to come crashing down. There's
yeah,
lots of theories going on around about that, whether William's going to get kidnapped, Felicity's going to get arrested, Oliver's going to be outed as, the Green Arrow, which we already know from the promo for next week.
mm-hmm.
Spoilers, he's going to get
Yeah,
outed as a
yeah.
Green Arrow. What do you think about that? His whole like, let's make him as stable and happy as possible and then crash it all down again.
Oh god. Okay. The only reason I laugh like that is because it wouldn't be Arrow if crap didn't hit the fan. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
It wouldn't, and it wouldn't be any show because no one's gonna stick around for that. Um, but I am interested to see it become a situation where they have to use their brains,
Mm-hmm.
and their relationships with each other, and the team to get out of a situation where, say, for example, Felicity, being arrested, or I don't want to see William kidnapped again. No, I'm tired. I don't want
Yeah.
to see William kidnapped, and I really like if Felicity's kidnapped. I feel like we've talked about it, not like me and you, but I mean like in general, it's been a concept in the fandom for so long
Oh
that
yeah.
to this point, I feel that if it happens, I'll just sit there like, like okay, you had your moment. Now get my girl back. But you did say something that I thought was really cool. one time you had mentioned Felicity being in prison and becoming like some super spy.
Yes, I want Felicity to start a prison riot. I want Felicity to start a prison riot. I want Felicity to end up in prison, and then we can finally get the big reveal that, like, all this time, Felicity has actually been training. Because, by the way, Emily Bett is like built. Like, she's done boxing, she's done whatever. I'm like about to knock things over. I'm so excited about this idea. And, like, obviously, she won't stay in prison for that long, but I feel like in the last confrontation that we saw with Samantha Watson, the interview with Felicity, that was amazing. Which, like, I just love Samantha Watson anyways. Like, she's great. But in the interview with Felicity, it really seemed like she kind of could tell that there was something, like, she had kind of met a match of wits in a way that, like, she, like, Oliver's no match of wits for Samantha. Dinah's not really either, but Felicity kind of is. And so I feel like she would kind of, what now? What now?
I was saying that Felicity's kind of sitting there like, I faced down the demon. Like, this is nothing really. So okay.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of have this, like, they both, you know, they both have a good head on their shoulders in a very similar way. And so I could see Samantha going after Oliver by going after Felicity, because there's going to be more potentially evidence to go after her. If Felicity ends up in prison, I will be lit. Like, she's going to get out of prison, but while she's there, like, I want her to take control of that prison. I want her to start prison riots. I want her, like, benching in the weight room. That would be fantastic anyways.
And that would be really, honestly, like, a nice moment. I've been looking for moments like that for Felicity in season 6. And what I mean is, where Oliver, for example, we saw this in the first couple of episodes where he would say things like, okay, what's your suggestion? Like, and it was very small moments, but everyone noticed it, because this is an Oliver Queen that we're used to him just bossing everybody around. For him to be able to say, hey, what's your idea? That totally went boom. And then to even see him sit down with Diggle and them speaking about Diggle's influence on him becoming the Green Arrow, that was huge. So I think it would be nice to have a moment where, I mean, you know, in fic, we've seen fan fiction.
Right.
We see, Felicity gets to really develop things like whether it's her kickboxing skills or the self-defense lessons, you know, that are often prominent in fan fiction where John or Oliver is teaching her how to defend herself. I want a moment, we've seen this on the show, where she's, you know, practices with, I don't know what it's called, but the I don't know, the thing where they do, like, their hand movements on.
Sparring.
Yeah, the sparring. Is it sparring? Yeah. Okay, when they're doing sparring. So I would love to see a moment where she's in that prison, if she's in the prison, either she's taking out someone physically, but doesn't have to be physically, or just sits there calmly like, okay, great, thanks for getting me here. So now I'm gonna bust out and it's gonna be easy as pie. You know, like something subtle, but you just think they're like, that's my girl.
Yeah. I think that'd be great. It seems like everybody in the chat agrees as well. So jumping into the chat, Stormy says Felicity could be the badass on the cell block. Emily works out so hard she could totally do fight scenes. Amanda says, thank God it's Oliver that's going to be arrested and not Felicity. He can take it. I mean, I feel like Felicity could kind of take it too. Yeah. And Stormy says Oliver's arrested next week, but I do see Felicity getting arrested this season. Going back a bit to some of the earlier messages, there's a theory here in the chat saying Oliver telling Joe about William was so stupid. Joe is totally going to kidnap William. He already threatened him. Yeah, that's kind of going back to our kidnapping pros and cons. But if anybody's going to go after William, you know, like, it kind of makes sense. Like, the Green Arrow's son is being targeted by Slade's son, you know, like, vengeance carried on generations, whatever.
Oh, wonderful. Thoughts? My son. Like, okay. I mean, sure, if I get to see, what's his name? I don't know what the actor's name is. I mean,
the guy who plays Slade's son.
Yeah. I can't remember, but I mean, I'm not going to complain if he shows up again. Hopefully he just gets I mean, I'm not going to complain. I won't. But Can we also talk about this? This is something that's confusing me. Did he not say he killed Grant? Did Joe not say that he slit his throat? Like, why is Slade going to look for Grant? I thought he was dead. Did anyone catch that?
No,
Like,
Slade is going to look for his son, is what he said.
is he looking for Grant or is he looking for Joe?
Oh, Joe or no, what's the other one's name?
There's a
Is it Grant?
third?
No, there's two.
Okay. Because that's what caught me. I was like, what is going on?
Tell
I
us in
thought,
the chat if we're completely missing something.
yeah. Because he's
Stormy says, is anyone surprised that Slade's son started killing people at 13? I'm not. He admitted to killing someone, but I didn't catch who it was. Yeah, he just said that he had his first kill or whatever.
he mentioned that when you were gone, mom had another kid. And
Yeah.
then I thought he started saying like he was jealous. And then I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch that part because then
Yeah,
Natalie
story.
Abrams.
Yeah, it's Grant and Joe. You're right. You're right. I don't know
Right?
why was I pulling another name that started with a C? Am I like getting actors' names confused with actors versus characters? Whatever. You're correct though. It's Grant and Joe.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got. Stormy says, "Come on, don't we want sexy scenes of Oliver training Felicity? I totally do." Bruna says, "If that happens, I'm gonna die." And then regarding the Grant and Joe thing, he said he killed someone 6 months after he saw Slade, his father, kill that guy in the woods. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't
I
know
don't
what's
know.
happening.
I don't know. I mean, it could be something that they're going to continue to touch on, I guess. Like
There was
Slade's
a lot of
storyline, I'm sure,
throwaway
isn't
lines with
over.
those two, honestly. Like with Joe, and I was just trying to keep track of things in my head because season 2 is so long ago. So part of me I was like, okay, so I'm trying to remember the timeline with Amir Karu. I'm also trying to remember the timeline of things that he said to Joe when he to Oliver about Joe when he was
Right.
on the island. It was just I think maybe I don't know if that's kind of what no, it wasn't a downer for me. It was more just that I'm having to think about this, like
Yeah.
what this was so long ago. So I wonder for people who, aren't avid fans, like some of us who have been here from the beginning, like how they are doing trying to keep up with this information.
Yeah, and I think like with this, they were trying to contain like an entire sub storyline, start, middle, and end, all within 2 episodes, which I kind of appreciate because there are a lot of loose ends going on. Although I will say we did get a comment. It was on last week's episode. Saying was it Amanda? I think it might have been you. You pointed out that you watch a lot of like telenovelas, I think, and in like telenovelas and Brazilian soap operas might have been the example given. There's often a lot of like increasingly dramatic ends left hanging, and then it all kind of wraps up at once. And so I think it was Amanda that said that. She said she's kind of used to that and kind of appreciates the drama of that. So if that's something that they're kind of toying with, is sort of this higher level of drama there, where like we're gonna leave ends hanging and then have more ends left hanging. Like we've got Diggle's storyline with the hand tremor, which is unresolved. Felicity's tech company, Slade's son, Oliver's, voting referendum thing, the what's going on? Dinah and Vigilante,
What's
Wild
going on?
Dog and his daughter. Yeah,
Oh my
everybody.
gosh, Wild Dog and his daughter. Dude, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, they're
I
so.
totally forgot about
Amanda said in the chat it was her. Shout out to you, Amanda. Yeah, it was your comment. I was just rereading it today. Yeah, it's just, there's just so many loose ends that we almost start to forget it. Just like you were saying, like Wild Dog and his daughter, like we just almost forget. And then
Yeah.
there's also like Detective Lance and his whole thing going on.
Oh yeah. But the thing
Yeah.
is, this what season? This is episode 6, 5,
Yeah, 6.
6. So, I mean, at least we know we're not going to run out of story, and I think that has been my concern. even just going into the season, because I can, in my head, I visualize like the major roadblocks or things that they would want to accomplish this season.
Yeah.
And it looks like they might not, they're going to have story for season 7. If season 7 happens, might be the last one. I'm not saying I want people to lose their jobs or anything. I'm just trying to think, um, what left is there to tell?
Yeah. I think that they're also really trying to put their, put their toe in the water when it comes to like second generation type storylines.
Yeah,
Amanda pointed out, and Thea,
guys.
yeah, Thea, an entire main character, an entire heroine with like,
Yeah.
seasons worth of backstory is just left in a coma. And spoilers, we know she's coming out of it soon, but like, damn, it's been a long time without her. My camera's not focusing.
No,
It's all
no.
right. Y'all don't need to see my pores anyways. It's fine. Um, but yeah, there's just like a lot of storylines, and the crossover I don't think will do anything in terms of beginning to wrap them up. The crossover is
Right.
going to add a whole bunch of other storylines and a whole bunch of other villains
Yeah.
and versions of it. Earth 2
Good.
stuff, it's going to be what
Earth
now?
2, are we even on Earth 2 anymore? Isn't it like Earth X or something? Or I
Lord,
don't
I don't even know. Yeah, the crossover is going to the crossover, or the event, as we're supposed to be calling it. We're supposed to be calling it the event, not the crossover.
event. Sorry.
Um, no, I mean I call it the crossover too, but we're told to call it the event. Whatever.
Okay.
It's not even. I don't. The it's not even gonna like wrap anything up. It's just gonna unlock a bunch of other stuff in basically a different dimension, and
Yeah.
like it's gonna be almost self-contained.
Yeah.
Stormy says it's Earth 10.
Earth 10.
Steven said
Story
he
X.
pitched a
What's
great
wrong with
storyline
me?
for Thea. Say in the chat. Comment in the chat saying the Mirakura's confusing. Tonight it made it seem like Slade could choose when to go nuts. Yeah, they kind of just do whatever they want with the Mirakuru, don't they?
Yeah, and you know what? I think I'm just going to not think hard about it, because he's not supposed to be back that many times, right? In the rest of the season. Um he have to come. They have to do something to finish that off. I don't even. I'm starting to reach the point. I don't think I was like this in season 3 or 4, um, but at this point, I'm almost like logic does not ultimately apply anymore on this show. There was
Right.
someone who made a note on Twitter that the ice cream that they had tonight, Felicity should not have been able to have it because she's allergic to nuts.
Oh
I
yeah.
like things like that. I'm like, you know what? I think people are like either I'm not
She's
blaming the
like
right.
deathly allergic to peanuts.
Yeah. So there's I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, some things aren't making sense, but I'm just going to
Crack pipe
continue.
theory. This isn't the real Felicity. This is the Earth 2 Felicity without a peanut allergy, and the real Felicity is in jail somewhere. No, I'm
The
kidding. I would
crossover
hope
has
that.
started. The crossover event has already started. The event.
I'm kidding. Don't do that. Maybe there's like a version of Rocky Road in Star City that doesn't have peanuts. Does Rocky Road does
Oh,
have peanuts, right?
pretty sure. I've never had it.
Yeah. It has like chunks of some kind of nut, or is it walnuts?
But then again, they're all
Well, we all
manufactured
have
in.
something to Google, but I don't think Felicity would be able to have it.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, Lil. Let me cut right back to you because I want to hear your final thoughts. I know I already kept you a little bit over time, but I still want to hear your final thoughts. So just in, like your 30-second wrap up, what do you want to see going forward? Like what do the next episodes, like next 2 or 3 episodes need to have for you?
30 seconds. The next couple of episodes.
I mean, you could actually take as long as you want, but I kept you over time, so I was trying to like.
No, you're fine. Trying to think.
Okay, all right, then take all the time you want then.
All right, give me like 40 seconds.
Okay.
So going forward, I'm very interested still to see what happens with Felicity and Curtis's, and I think someone else joined them. Alana, Aloha. I
Yeah,
don't know. Their
it's a
startup,
tough name to pronounce.
Helix. I'm interested to see what happens with that. And I really want to see more sit down scenes. I think I've been requesting this, asking for this for a while. I want to see more moments with the team, you know, talking things out, supporting each other, some real, like, we've seen a bit of that more in this season of like slowing down, and even the family dynamics between Oliver and William. I want to see some drama at William's school. I know this isn't a show for the kid or anything, but those little things that start to, you know, bring the team together in a different way. I want to see Diggle, you know, trying to give advice to his pseudo nephew. I want to see, like, I want to see some more of those more moments, but also I really need to see Oliver get a scene like Slade did last week. Not in the regards to him like stabbing people through the head or the body or whatever, but I just need him to have his moments again. Just being a kick butt superhero. I'm not saying that he's not right now, but it's always nice to get those quieter moment, not quieter, blimey, to get those moments with the main character. I feel like the last couple of weeks, and I'm not an Oliver stan or anything, but like it's just he's not been there, and I kind of miss him, you know, as the Green Arrow. I love seeing that John has this opportunity, but we already know that he's not going to be here forever. Can we see John? Can we see like Oliver, you know, in the field with John as the Green Arrow? I don't know. Maybe it's just 10 o'clock. Oh, it's 11 o'clock almost.
I know, I kept you so late. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
I'm like, wait a second, what?
Time flies when you're theorizing about this show.
No, but you know what I want to do is next time I'm back, if you have me back, I'm going to like legitimately sit down and actually think. I mean, a little note, like outside Arrow life, I really need the CW to get their ish together. Like they please do that. And as they're doing that, I'm gonna theorize some more about things that I hope will happen. Ultimately, just
I think your like final, like everything that you said you want to happen in the next couple episodes is exactly what I want to happen. So instead of my final thoughts, I'm going to answer our last couple questions.
Okay.
One, Stormy says she's had Rocky Road without nuts. Okay. Therefore, it is possible that Felicity wouldn't die from it.
Oh,
Amanda says it's almost Amanda says it's almost 2 a.m. in Brazil. You stayed up with I feel you. I'm often quite that late. And she also says they failed Felicity twice. A, she's allergic to nuts. And on season 6, episode 3, they mentioned Felicity was in high school for 4 years, and that would be impossible since she graduated MIT at 19. Okay, fun fact about that. I believe at one point it was revealed on Twitter, so this is possibly not canon, but it was revealed by one of the executive producers that Felicity's birthday is Leap Day. This was said sort of in a joke, as like everybody was like, when are we going to celebrate Felicity's birthday? We never celebrate Felicity's birthday. And it was said like, oh, it's only going to be every 4 years, whatever, right?
I remember that.
Yeah. And then they actually revealed it, whatever. But this sort of sparked this theory that I have that I will take to my grave, which is that Felicity lied about her age to get out of high school, to get into high school at a certain age, to get out of high school at a certain age, and to get into MIT before her mom would sign off on it, and continued all the way through being hired at Queen Consolidated, lying about her age because she was far too young. Okay, so Felicity is supposed to be, I don't know exactly what age she's supposed to be, but the age that they were claiming she was is the age I think she was lying about. I think she was actually far younger than that.
Oh my God.
Which would make her, like, my theory has her at the same age as the actress who plays her. But basically, my theory is, like, she was bored with school. She was a genius. Like, her, you know, her dad had, like, run off to go do villainy stuff, whatever. Her mom's, like, Vegas waitress and, like, you know, was not, like, super in touch with, like, her schooling stuff necessarily. And so she just kind of, like, hacked into the school system, changed all her records to like advance through the ranks super fast, got into MIT, lied about her age. That's what the whole like, that was also, you know, sparked the whole like, you know, I'm going to wear glasses, or I'm going to wear this kind of makeup, or I'm going to wear this kind of look, or whatever. Is she was just trying to blend in with whoever she was supposed to be around so that she could look like their age. Because by the time she's revealed in season 1 to have been working at Queen Consolidated, she is said to have like already worked there for X number of years, which completely does not line up with like what her age and high school and like number of years in high school and college, whatever is. So rather than that be a plot hole, I'm just going to say she's lying about her age. I have a whole Twitter thread about this, actually. Like, I will take this theory to my grave. Anyways.
You have a Twitter thread about plot holes? Can I please see this?
I have a whole, yes, you can. I will like link this to you afterwards. I have a whole Twitter thread about Felicity lying about her age. Like, in my like theory, like Moira figured it out and Walter figured it out. Like, it's like a whole, it's, yeah, I'm like a very in-depth theory about this.
You think Moira figured it out, and Moira was, that's why she didn't like her, because she was lying and she got away with it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Amanda says on the grave, which is a bit of a spoiler and does not necessarily mean one of our faves is dying, don't freak out. It lists Felicity's birth year as 1989. It does, but that's a lie. I do not think she was born then. I think in my theory, her birth year is 1991 or 2, something like that. But
I mean, it could work. Yeah. Maybe you should write a story about this. I am promoting fan fiction. Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyways, sorry for keeping you so late ranting about my little Felicity theory.
Oh, that was awesome.
Thank you for joining me. If anybody wants to chat with you about your thoughts and theories about Arrow or any of the other shows you watch, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at No Choice to Make. The 0, it's N0 choice to make. You can find me there.
Yep, and you can find that linked through my latest tweet, which is the link to this live show, and it also has her Twitter information. Both of our information, links, social, whatever stuff is in the description down below, and I will see you probably not next week, because while there will be a new episode of Arrow, it's also Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Have a good Thanksgiving, Americans.
Thank you.
Got it late, but it's okay.
You're up in Canada, right? So your Thanksgiving's a different day, right?
Yeah, we had it in October. So like October 6th, I think it was. So
yeah,
when we're already it's like a weird thing because your Thanksgiving is made such a much bigger deal, and you usually kind of eclipse our celebrations, at least when it comes to media. So it's almost like after Thanksgiving, you're thinking about Halloween, but you're also already kind of preparing for Christmas because there's no buffer. But y'all have like Halloween, then you have Thanksgiving, and then you have Christmas, like what, 3-week preparation after that? So it's always an interesting thing to see on Twitter. Like, okay,
Americans do everything wrong and in the wrong order, but louder than everybody else. Like, that's the consistent thing.
That is can I like quote you on that?
Absolutely.
They do everything wrong in the wrong order. I don't know. I have to get it back. I'll play this back later.
Okay. Amanda says in Brazil they don't have Thanksgiving at all. Well, Amanda, I am very thankful for you. So you are a part of my Thanksgiving. There you go. That's like you have a Thanksgiving, but without all the hassle of having to like make a turkey or whatever.
You don't need it. It's okay. It has too much negative connotations anyway, so
oh yeah.
Go with peace.
The history of American Thanksgiving is nothing to really celebrate. So just like take the nice squash recipes and the thankful sentiments and then just like try to
most of it
pass the rest.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I will let you guys go. I will let you go as well, Raquel. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, everyone else, for joining me. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for episode 8.
Woo-hoo!
Episode 7 will be next week. I know. Wild. When we talk about episode 8, we'll also talk about episode 7 as well. And we'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye.